Now that we know how to draw shapes, let's create some more complex shapes by using Boolean options. I'm just gonna draw a rectangle in here, and I'm gonna draw a circle on top. I can position it like this. So you can see that the oval, ellipse, circle shape that we have in here and a little square that we have below are both selected because they're highlighted in blue. And on top in here, new options appeared because we selected these two items, layers together. This option I'm not gonna dive in too much right now. It's definitely something for more advanced users. This option in here we're gonna cover in the next video. I just want to focus on options in here, and they're called Boolean options. And I'm gonna duplicate these shapes 4 times. To do that, I basically just select both of them and hit Command D to duplicate, and then I just drag them by holding Shift so I don't move them accidentally around on a y-axis. So they're just moving on the x-axis. If I want to move them on the y-axis, they would kind of lock in place if I'm holding Shift. So you can see that it's really hard for me to mess up the movement just because I'm holding the Shift. So a helpful tip that might be useful to you. And once again, if I hit Command D, it's going to remember what I did to the first shape, and it's going to do what I did from the first shape to the second shape. It's going to do the same thing from the second shape to this new third shape. And here's the fourth one. And here's the fifth one. So we have 5 copies of the same shapes. As you can see, because this layer was on the bottom and this one was on the top, it actually created copies of them above the original layer. And it also changed the number. So from ellipse 5, this one is now called ellipse 6. So the same thing, if I duplicated this frame that we have in here, it would become frame 2, and it would contain everything that the original frame has inside it. So keep that in mind. It's helpful to know when you're organizing your layers and frames and everything, how they actually work in the background. So for the first two, as you can see, as soon as I select them, options in here appear. I will do the union selection, and that means these two layers became one layer that's called union. What's good in Figma is it's not actually destroying the original layers. It still keeps them. It kind of creates like group frame option from the original 2 layers, and it creates a totally new shape that I can now change, but it still allows me to dive in deeper into original layers and kind of move them around, and then this shape changes. And you can see the visual representation of the shape in here as well. So yeah, a good thing about Figma, it's really not destroying anything that you're working on. It still keeps things neatly available with just a little hit of a little icon in here. For these two, I'm gonna hit subtract, which means that it's gonna basically take the top layer, which in our case was the circle that we had on top of the rectangle, and it's gonna cut off any places where they overlap. So it's just gonna keep the rest of the original bottom layer, which for ours was the rectangle, and it's gonna cut off this part. And if I enter inside, I'm using Shift. If you remember from one of the previous videos, we edited the Shift nudge amount, which is kind of the big nudge. And if I hold Shift and just move arrows left and right, I can basically move the shape in here, and it's going to change positions a little bit. So I'm just going to reset it back to where it needs to be by hitting Command Z. With this two, we're going to do intersect, which is actually just going to leave the little part where both layers overlap. So like this. And for the final one, we're going to do exclude, which is going to do the exact opposite. It's going to remove the places where they intersect and keep both of the original layers like this. So you can see how we can use these Boolean options to create interesting shapes in Figma and use them as like a single layer in a sense, even though they're not, because you can still dive in deeper and do further edits to the shape if you don't like it when they're combined. Now finally, I'm going to show you one other thing, and that's flattening a selection, which basically is a more destructive option, and it's going to create one single shape out of these two that you can no longer edit. And now if I hit stroke, one thing that's kind of weird about Figma is that it's going to add stroke to everything in here. If you want to prevent that and you want to actually create a shape that kind of is fully just one shape, I do recommend doing union first, and then after that hitting the flatten selection, which now means that this is one shape. There is no ability for me to enter inside of it anymore. And if I press enter and go into the edit mode of this particular shape like this, you can see that there is no longer this part of the circle in here. Basically, there's only 1, 2, 3 points from the original square and 1, 2, 3, 4 points from the circle. While if I hit enter on any of these, I'm actually seeing both shapes overlap still, and I just entered the union shape that was created. So you can see that if I hit any of these, I still see the original shapes, while in here, I actually go into the edit mode of this particular shape, which is now a single shape. While in here, I would only be able to enter the edit mode if I actually went to a particular level of a layer like this. So I can now edit points of this square that we have and go kind of up and down on every single one of these points and have it do this. So yeah, a lot of illustrations, a lot of icons can be created by using these options that I just presented to you.